Lineup. The officials for this evening. On the left is Paul Mahalik. On the right is Jack Madden, and the alternate Bernie Fryer, who is not in that picture, but who is seated at the scorer's table. Mavericks have won all 6 games between these two teams, as we mentioned at the top, and the closest Seattle has gotten in any contest has been 10 points. If you're looking for a lift from the Seattle point of view, Norm, from an unexpected source, what about 13-year veteran Maurice Lucas?
Well, if this is going to be a physical game, as Richie Adubato suggests it is, that is Mr. Physical in this league. If it gets down and dirty, nobody gets down or dirtier than Maurice in hard games. Not a dirty player, but a very hard player. Alan, he has the most playoff minutes of anybody in this game, over 2,000 in this league. And if Bernie Bickerstaff's looking for somebody to come in and maybe mix this game up, Maurice is capable of it.
I was really interested in Richie Adubato's comments about this being a pride game for Seattle. They were embarrassed here on Thursday night, and that as pros, they will be very much in tune to respond to that tonight. You saw the shooting percentages. Mavericks have not lost here since Atlanta did them in on March the 13th on a Friday evening.
If Seattle is going to hang in this basketball game, they absolutely must stop the flow of the ball inside for Dallas. Of the 151 points Dallas scored the other night, 109 came inside, right around the glass, layups, dunks, things like that.
Mavericks easily control the tip, and Derek Harper moves into the front court to work against McMillan. Sonics star Tom Chambers on Aguirre, who goes low to Donaldson. They try to screen for Roe Blackman, but Ellis fights his way through it, and the shot clock is down to 5. And Blackman connects from the outside on really a broken play for the Mavericks.
Notice what Dallas is doing, pressuring already. They're still trying to force the tempo up against Seattle.
McMillan gets it to Dale Ellis for 3, and Dale Ellis connects from the outside. He had 1 3-pointer in Thursday night's game in 2 attempts. Aguirre loses the pass inside to Chambers, and the first turnover of the contest. Harper staying tight on McMillan, who had the 3 early turnovers Thursday that began the Sonics' demise. Here's Ellis off another screen, and Aguirre is there for the rebound.
But Allen, Seattle took 17 seconds to shoot the ball.
Blackman inside draws a foul on Dale Ellis, who got into some early foul difficulty on Thursday night. And Roe Blackman will head to the free throw line. He was a perfect 2 of 2 from the stripe Thursday night and was the 9th best foul shooter in the NBA this season at 88%.
Interesting that Bernie Bickerstaff decided to switch defensive assignments for his forward. Chambers, not known at all as a good defensive player in this league. Maybe the move because he thought Chambers philosophically could take Aguirre and McDaniel couldn't.
You saw Blackman missing the first. The chess match is on, and there's Bernie Bickerstaff watching. And also, even though Chambers does not have a defensive reputation, he is 6'10", and just that alone would make Mark have to alter his game a bit, you would think, Norm, to just try to work around a player that tall.
I wonder if Dallas won't, the next couple of times on the floor, try to set up Perkins against McDaniel and still try to take advantage of the defensive mismatch.
Sonic forwards get the ball over midcourt, and here's Ellis on a drive and 1, and Dale Ellis with all 5 of the Sonic points. Sam Perkins gets called for his first. And Seattle, here in the opening minute or so, Norm, certainly appears to have regained their poise.
Well, they've run 3 straight plays for Dale Ellis. Their thinking is this is probably the place on the floor where we can do something against Dallas. And it's worked so far. Ellis has gotten him a couple of hoops, and he's capable of huge games, isn't he?
Yes, he's been over 44 times this year and over 20, 62 of 82. Aguirre is blocked. And the foul is inside on Tom Chambers, even though it was McDaniel who made the contact in blocking the shot, and Chambers is going to argue a little bit, but Aguirre will go to the line.
Allen, same trouble. See, they let Aguirre have the baseline there. See, Chambers played him off high toward the lane. You can't do that with the size of Aguirre's behind. Once he gets you on it, he'll take you for a 4-hour ride.
The interesting thing was that once they gave up the baseline, as you could see on the replay, all three of the Sonic frontline players reacted and went for the block, so they're at least more aware of the problem at the beginning of the game tonight.
As we talked in the pregame, Alan, they don't have Lister to jump over and double and block those shots. Somebody's got to come over and help that forward who has Aguirre.
You saw Dick Motta looking for his 57th all-time playoff victory as Aguirre remains perfect from the stripe in this series, now 6 for 6. Here's McDaniel. And to the basket against Donaldson and rolls it in over the front of the rim.
Again, Dallas, look at how Dallas pressing the pace. They want this game to be played at a very, very high pace.
McMillan got a hand on that pass from Derek Harper. Knocked it out of bounds. Mavericks with still a very long 16 seconds on the shot clock. Aguirre drifting outside. Sizing up Chambers. And there's the 6'10" height advantage of Chambers as Aguirre was short. McMillan pressure gets it ahead to Ellis. To McDaniel along the baseline. Reversal. Ellis with the rebound. Ball will still belong to Seattle. As they say, Sam Perkins knocked it underneath the backboard standard, which is considered a dead ball spot. So the Sonics retain possession.
Bernie Bickerstaff. You'll get it together, Bernie. He was hollering 3 and holding up 4 fingers.
Maybe he meant the 4 play for number 3 or the 3 play for number 4. Here's Chambers. An illegal defense call against the Mavericks. Mark Aguirre called for being more than one zone away from Xavier McDaniel and yet not double teaming the ball. Sonics, Norman, in the early going using their forwards to help Nate McMillan get the ball over the 10-second line. Here's Harper with almost a steal. They get the ball to Chambers on the baseline. Donaldson, who had 9 boards on Thursday.
Notice how they're not asking McMillan to... and McDaniel and Aguirre really getting after it, and there's the call.
Going to go on Xavier McDaniel, who continues to be totally frustrated in his battle against Mark Aguirre. It's a 3rd team foul against the Sonics already. Whoa,
you talk a couple of mountain goats at the top of the hill, huh?
The heck with a Texas death match. That was a Texas-Washington death match. Here's Aguirre on the baseline, but he stepped out of bounds. And the turnover gives it back to Seattle, which still has the advantage in this contest. McMillan forced way up high by Harper, and Derrick gets called for the reach. That's the 2nd team foul against the Mavericks, and Harper has words for official Jack Madden. Mavericks have not had a lot of success with Jack Madden officiating their games this year.
No, Mark Aguirre has been particularly unhappy in some games officiated by Jack Madden.
Here's Dale Ellis. Comes off a screen, but misses again, and Clement Johnson with the offensive board. Chambers inside of Derek Harper. And Chambers' first point stretched the Sonic advantage to 4.
Let me point out something. At this juncture the other night, Dallas had 18 points. And they have 5 tonight.
So in the very early going of the first quarter tonight, the Sonics seemingly have righted their ship a bit. Here's Harper for 3. First 3-pointer of the series for the Mavericks, who went 0 for 3 on long-range shots Thursday. McDaniel gets back 2 of them very quickly. He has 4, and the Sonic advantage is 3.
Happened on a couple of Aguirre's drives is Clement Johnson leaves James Donaldson early as Blackman hits. Alan, look for Donaldson to become more involved with the pass off when the forwards start their drive.
Blackman now up to 5 as he cuts the Sonic lead down to 1 point. They get the ball again to Dale Ellis. Low now to Clement Johnson. And Johnson, who averages 2.5 shots a game and who attempted only 1 in 19 minutes Thursday, connects here. And again, it's Sonics by 3. Blackman. Donaldson. Ball comes away to McMillan, and a 4-on-1 for the Sonics. Ellis slides in. And Dale Ellis has 7 early. And the Sonics have a 5-point advantage. Aguirre to the baseline. And again, token resistance as Mark Aguirre gets his first 2 for the contest.
pace is starting to get fast for Seattle there. Good move by McDaniel there. Oh, my. Chambers way out.
For 3, but Dale Ellis with the offensive board. Chambers made 54 three-pointers in the regular season, so not an unlikely candidate to pull the trigger from out there, but Perkins picks off the pass from McDaniel. And to the basket. Excellent court-to-court play by Sam Perkins.
Good move by McDaniel here. Slow it up. No, not going to slow it up.
Force the issue and will get the foul inside on the Mavericks. It may be number 2 on Perkins. No, it's the first on Donaldson. You saw a minute ago on that prior possession why Dick Motta considers Sam Perkins the best one-on-one defensive player on his ball club. As Perkins still here, and court-to-court, run to the hoop, has cut the Sonic lead down to 1. By with Skip Bayless.
Skip, a different Sonic team tonight, getting inside for shots and for rebounds. It's a completely different game.
I thought it would be, because I thought it would, coming off that raising of the championship banner last game, you can only do that one time and feed off that, and I think we're seeing a little different Sonic team tonight.
You still want to call it Dallas in 3?
I do not. I think Seattle could steal one of these games and at least go to 4. I'm more worried about Seattle than I am Houston or the Lakers. I think they're the sleeper Sonics, I call them.
Alan?
Dallas Times-Herald front page sports columnist Skip Bayless. Never one to take the easy route in a prediction, is he?
No, there aren't a lot of guys in the boat that skip sailing generally.
Xavier McDaniel, a 70% foul shooter at the line. He struggled from there on Thursday night, making only 4 of 8. Rattles the first one home, and he's got 5 early.
Tell you what, Alan, you look in this guy's eyes, and you realize the fire burns in this guy. Some people in this league, you look in their eyes and you say, well, I wonder if anybody's home.
Well, everybody talked about what a tough game he had Thursday night. You look at his line, 18 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists. And 8 of those 13 rebounds were on the offensive end. But it was the defensive end where he drew the negative reviews, failing to stop Aguirre. Nobody stopped Joe Blackman as he just waltzes down the paint.
Sonics made a fundamental mistake. 25 feet from the basket, the guard in the center shouldn't switch defensive duty.
7 now for Blackman. McDaniel inside, off balance. 8 in the quarter for Xavier McDaniel. And the Sonics continue to look like a team that has successfully regrouped after the embarrassing defeat handed them by the Mavericks on Thursday. Harper, as Donaldson got a partial screen on McMillan. Donaldson with the offensive rebound strip, and McMillan got a hand on it.
Here's that move we were talking about Bernie Bickerstaff making. Danny Young is the first man off the bench.
And it's for Nate McMillan, who made it through a little half of this first quarter without any negative results. This may be a foul on Dale Ellis. Yes, Ellis picks up his second, and so for the second straight game, Dale Ellis gets into early foul difficulty. Dale not happy about that because it really wasn't a necessary foul. Here's Blackman over Ellis. Perkins goes high to keep it alive. This may be a loose ball foul on Chambers.
Now, you're wondering why the crowd's applauding so against Tom Chambers. It's because it was reported that during the game the other night, when he scuffled early with James Donaldson, Chambers called Donaldson a punk. You know, and I've never thought of 7'2", 280 pounds being a punk.
No, I can think of some things you might want to say about him if you thought he was being unkind, but punk is not one of them. Foul difficulties for the Sonics. Chambers will have to leave. You just saw Dale Ellis removed as Kevin Williams, the third-year guard from St. John's, took his place. Now Chambers is out for Maurice Lucas, and the referee's forcing Bernie Bickerstaff into a substitution pattern that he might not have gone to on his own. In fact, probably wouldn't have.
In fact, if I were going to call Donaldson a punk, I'd at least call him a big punk.
Yeah, a very big punk. Perkins, who had a rather quiet game on Thursday night. Mavericks again getting to the foul line. This will be their 6th attempt of the period and their second miss. And Lucas with the rebound. And again, the forward will take the ball over midcourt. Xavier McDaniel. Lucas clamoring for the ball against Aguirre. And one for Maurice Lucas. Crown thought he traveled. The double team came from Blackman. And Aguirre gets called for his first and the Mavericks fourth. And we were talking earlier about a possible unexpected player on this Seattle team to give him a lift, Maurice Lucas, and he makes an immediate contribution.
This is a lineup the Mavericks may have a little trouble with. If they really want Perkins to cover McDaniel, that means Aguirre's got to play either Lucas or Johnson, and that's a physical mismatch. I'm surprised if Tarpley comes in soon.
86th playoff game for Maurice Lucas as Blackman hits the deck and turns it over to Young. Ahead to McDaniel, who punctuates that one through, and Xavier McDaniel into double figures with 10. And don't look now, but with just under 5 minutes to go in the quarter, Sonics are out to a 7-point lead. Here's Aguirre. Inside, and one for Mark Aguirre. Foul is on Kevin Williams. Mavericks got into the penalty on the last Seattle foul as Aguirre takes advantage of the mismatch inside.
Clement Johnson unhappy. He felt he misplayed Aguirre, and that led to the three-point attempt.
Aguirre had no turnovers in Thursday night's game. This year has been a career low in turnovers for Mark. There's Lucas open. Mavericks press didn't come up with the ball, and another three-point play opportunity for Maurice Lucas. And Donaldson gets called for his second, and my, isn't this a different beginning than we had Thursday night?
Wonder if the Mavericks are going to call the press off. Twice the Sonics have broken it for easy plays inside now, and a couple of other times got semi-transition good shots off of it.
Both teams are now in the penalty. Roy Tarpley on his way to the scores table, as is Russ Shaney for Seattle. The last possessions, the teams trade three-point plays. Harper, as Clement Johnson jumps out. Now Aguirre over Lucas. McDaniel.
Well, Seattle's doing a really good job of jump switching on Dallas, and it's really bothering the Maverick offense.
Danny Young going upstream against Harper, and again they get the ball to Lucas. Double team. McDaniel is open. Lucas for the tip, and Perkins takes it away. Ahead to Harper. Contact is made, and it's on number 22, Danny Young, and they'll rule that Derek Harper was on his way to getting the shot off, so a shooting foul.
Danny Young threw himself in front of the train there. Not only Harper goes over the top of him, here comes his own teammate. One guy steps on him, another guy kicks him.
Tarpley is on for James Donaldson, so the officials having something to do with Dick Motta's substitution pattern, as usually it is Tarpley in the early going for Perkins, but Donaldson with two personals. As you see, Donaldson, the best rebounder in the Western Conference this season. Sonics made a substitution as well. It is Russ Shaney into the game for
Clement Johnson.
Kevin Williams around Aguirre.
Notice Young. See what we told you about Young? He's very patient as a player. Almost slow in their offense. Open is Young. Misses the shot, and Blackman takes the rebound off the fingertips of McDaniel. Aguirre underneath. There's no one picked him up for the Sonics, and Mark has 9. Sonics will stop play with 3:14 still to go in the first quarter, and a good first quarter for Bernie Bickerstaff in Seattle as they continue to lead the Mavericks right here by 3 points. Sonics, Norm, and if you're the Mavericks, thought you were going to walk in here and blow out this team for the second straight time, you might better get your mind off that subject. It's pretty important for Dallas to establish something before halftime because, as my old coach in college, Bob McKinnon, who's now in the front office in New Jersey, used to say, the longer you let an underdog stay in the game, the more chance there is he's going to bite you. And as Rick Sun, the eternal pessimist of the Mavericks front office, likes to say,
When you beat a team this many times, they're bound to be due, aren't they?
Yeah, but Rick doesn't understand. The due theory, there are people at the corner of Harwood and Wood tonight with tin cups who bet the due theory in their lives, Alan.
Here's Lucas over Perkins, and Harper is there for the long rebound. Mavericks shooting 57%, Sonics at 59%. Before that timeout, and Tarpley gets called for the offensive foul. Mavericks turn it over again as Digmata has words for official Jack Madden. 4th turnover for the Mavericks in this quarter, and Seattle has only 1, and that is a complete reversal from the early moments of Game 1. Young. Offensive foul is called on Danny Young. So that negates the foul on Tarpley, and the Sonics give it right back.
When people call for Tarpley to start and Perkins not to start, it's plays like that that Mata and Adebayo remember. How good Perkins is at the jump switch.
Detlef Shrimp into the game for Roe Blackman, handling the ball for a moment. Here's Tarpley, has his pocket picked by Danny Young. And the Mavericks turn it over again. Another long pass to Xavier McDaniel, who has done a good job of beating the Mavericks down the floor. And McDaniel with a huge first quarter. He has 12.
And Alan, they've gotten by 10 minutes of this game now without their point guard affecting their team in the least, and that's a major plus for Seattle.
Well, you were talking about them surviving the first quarter. They've been leading the first quarter. Here's Tarpley showing his range outside.
But notice how few opportunities inside Dallas is getting. A lot of outside chances, not much inside.
And Nate McMillan, the point guard for the Sonics, the starting point guard at the scorer's table, and he comes in as Derek Harper flicks the ball out of bounds. Brad Davis will check into the game for the Mavericks, replacing Derek Harper. McMillan is on for Young, who had 2 steals during his short stay here in the first quarter. McDaniel around Aguirre. 3-point opportunity for Xavier McDaniel, and way out front they called a real ticky-tacky foul on Mark Aguirre. And that's the second on Aguirre. Boy, they called that right there and then said it was a continuation play.
Usually the rule is if he takes a bounce after the foul, that's not a continuation. They let it go there, and it doesn't cost Dallas much.
That's Aguirre's second, though, so that may be costly within itself. Aguirre down low, and now they'll call the foul on Russ Shaney as Aguirre is hammered inside.
Notice something else that Bernie Bickerstaff has done tonight. Knowing that Dick Motta likes to play Harper 10-11 minutes, he takes McMillan out early, puts Danny Young in the game. Then, when Harper's due to come off the floor, he can put McMillan back in against Brad Davis, which I think he considers a better matchup for him.
You saw Bill Winnington ready to check in for the Mavericks. Aguirre a perfect 3 of 3 from the line tonight. Looks to go into double figures. Aguirre, the 7th best scorer in the league last year, had 14 of his team-high 28 in the first quarter of Game 1. And 11 in the first period tonight. 3 baskets and 5 free throws. And again, it's a 3-point game. Mavericks pressing in the backcourt. Whittington must be going to check in for Mark Aguirre because Dallas did not get him in during those free throws. Here's McDaniel, wide open. Gets his own rebound to the hoop. And McDaniel continues to lead all scorers with 16.
That's the travel.
Yeah, Mavericks turned it over.
McDaniel in the backcourt, forced the travel, jumped over on Shrimp.
And Whittington is on for Aguirre. So another Maverick turnover. That is at least the 6th here of this quarter. And so the Mavericks having the ball handling problem tonight. Kevin Williams outside. Russ Shaney will be called for the loose ball foul, banging on Brad Davis. And more free throws for the Mavericks.
That's something Bernie Bickerstaff didn't want. He doesn't want this to become a fouling contest because that's what Dallas-Seattle games have become this year. Dallas in the 6 games against Seattle this year averages 12 more free throw attempts per game than Seattle.
And the Mavericks are 9 of 11 in the first quarter tonight. But the 3rd miss by Brad Davis. Sonics, meanwhile, have attempted 6 and made 4. So right there, Norma, is a 6-point advantage for the Mavericks from the line. in the first period tonight. Lucas throws it away to Shrimp. Ball comes free, and Tarpley picks it up off the floor. As we head down toward the 1-minute mark in the period, Davis left hands it around Maurice Lucas.
Outstanding shot.
1-point game as we go under a minute. 2-point game, excuse me. Sonics forced way outside. Now here's McDaniel. They can't stop Xavier McDaniel. 18.
18?
I remember Gus Williams having a 23-point first quarter against the Mavericks in their first ever playoff game 4 years ago. Here's Perkins. Hammered inside.
18? That's what he had all Thursday, right?
Yep. He's got 18 of his team's 35. Lucas subbed out, and Curtis Kitchen, the 6th-round draft choice out of South Florida. And as Bernie Bickerstaff going deep into his bench already. As you see Bickerstaff calling out what he wants run after Perkins' free throws. Sam with 3 boards tonight and a steal to go with those 3 points. But 1 of 3 from the stripe.
4 misses at the stripe already for Dallas.
Sam, who went to the line 81 fewer times this year than last, has attempted 4 in this quarter.
And Alan, we're almost guaranteed Seattle's going to lead this game after the first quarter.
3 points right here, and the Sonics with the ball.
This is still the wrong pace for them, though.
Very strong first period for Seattle, which makes one of its few mistakes in this quarter, as the pass too low for Kevin Williams, in Dallas will try for the final shot of the period, down by 3 with that much time remaining. Davis to Shrimp. Left-handed.
What a shot!
Shaney gets it off in time, but it'll be way short. And so Detlef Shrimp running left-hander in the paint. The final points of this quarter. But the Mavericks have found themselves up against a much better Seattle team tonight. And at the end of 1, it's the Sonics leading the Mavericks by a point.
First period, we're here with some Seattle fans, including Donna Zorn. First of all, how'd you get such great seats?
Well, I'm with the team. My husband's a team doctor.
Oh, okay.
And so the management gave me this seat.
You're having a good night tonight.
It is very good.
You think it's going to last?
Of course.
You have great confidence. You expect to play 2 in Seattle, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, Donna Zorn, Seattle fans. Alan?
Okay, Marco Aristano, thank you very much. It was a good first quarter for Seattle, and those are good seats. Those are the same seats Jack Nicholson sits in when he comes to Maverick-Laker playoff games in this building.
Is that right?
Yes.
Tell you what, Alan, Seattle's up on the board, but this is still a furious pace to the game. 35-34, that would mean the winner's projected to get 140. If somebody gets 140 in this game, I doubt it will be Seattle.
Sonics were 5th in the league in scoring. Mavericks were 4th. Sonics' largest advantage in that first quarter was 7. Dallas only led once at 2-0. Dale Ellis is back in for the Sonics to start quarter number 2. He had a big second period in game 1. Clement Johnson over Winnington. Shrimp takes it away from Eddie Johnson, who's just subbed into the game for the Sonics. Roe Blackman back on for the Mavericks. Looking to get the ball to Tarpley, posting against Clement Johnson, and Tarpley shuffles his feet.
Remember the pregame discussion of what Bernie Bickerstaff might do to control tempo in this game? Look at the lineup on the floor. McMillan with another point guard, Johnson, and Ellis at a small forward. This lineup, I think they hope, will be able to take the pace out of the game.
Dale Ellis to the basket and blocked by Shrimp. Sonics screaming for a foul call. They won't get. Tarpley is short, but gets it back. And there you see the trademark of Roy Tarpley's game. Somehow keeping the ball alive till he gets it where he wants it. And the second time tonight, the Mavericks have been ahead. Here's Ellis. Johnson with the offensive rebound. And Bill Winnington is going to be called for the loose ball foul. Chambers is back on for the Sonics, replacing Russ Shaney.
Alan, let's just take a guess that the winner of this period doesn't get over 30 points, okay?
Ellis rattles one in. He's got 9. Okay. Well, you were talking about the pace, but really the shooting percentages are so high, they've got to score a lot of points. Mavericks shot 65%, Seattle 56%. Mavericks going to the set look here, and here's Tarpley. Tarpley with 6, and he continues to look for his shot with good results. Chambers inside, loses the ball, and a foul is called on the Mavericks. This will be on Detlef Schrempf. Foul number 2 on Dallas this period as Maverick owner Donald Carter voices his displeasure, and Dick Motta bites his lip.
But frankly, from this angle, it looked like Schrempf got it clean as he helped out.
Eddie Johnson, the veteran 11-year pro, into the game, and Whittington gets the block here. Officials are just not pleasing anyone. Seattle thought that was goaltending. And it was close.
Very.
Chambers up top. And Tom Chambers, only his second hoop of the ball game. And the Sonics go back in front by 1. Boy, Schrempf with a major height advantage on McMillan. At least 5 inches. Here's Davis. Clement Johnson got the block, but they'll rule the goaltend.
Bernie Bickerstaff up and hollering, hey, it's the same play Whittington made.
And maybe a basis for an argument, too, as Johnson, that was rather obvious goaltending, and Whittington certainly could have been. But the Mavericks take the advantage back, and Davis with 5. Ellis up top to McMillan. First points of the night for Nate McMillan. And the Sonics, so far in the first half, continue to be equal to the task. Blackman through the Seattle defense and fouled at the very end on the drive. It's going to go on Clement Johnson. First foul of the period against Seattle. You know, if you look back at the game, just the box score on Thursday night, Norm, Seattle shot well enough, 49%, got 32 free throws, 52 rebounds.
Only lost the boards by 2.
Scored 129 points.
Only turned the ball over 1 more time than Dallas. How'd they get beaten so bad? See, what happened in that game was, in the 4th quarter, after Dallas got that 38-point lead, there was a lot of points scored late in happy hour time in the game, and the stats evened out a lot more.
Nice round of applause for Bill Whittington as James Donaldson returns. Blackman has 9 and is 3 of 4 from the line. And again, the forwards getting the ball over the 10-second line and then putting the ball in McMillan's hands.
But see, they're not rushing. They get it over, and then they set up.
Will Blackman reaches in to take the ball away from Dale Ellis. Nice steal for the Mavericks all-star guard. Here's Blackman. Again to the basket. And Blackman into double figures as the Mavericks open up their largest advantage of the game. A 3-point lead, and Bernie Bickerstaff will stop play with just under 9 minutes still to go in the half, as the Mavericks' first substantial run has given them a 3-point lead over the Sonics.
Occasionally, yeah.
What is it like to hear all this cheering and hear all the excitement and not really feel like a part of it?
Well, you know what's going on, but you just don't know who it's going on to. That's just...
Can you tell what's going on by the sound of the crowd?
Yeah, sometimes.
You know who's winning without looking at the board?
No.
Okay, well, it's 44-41 Dallas.
Thank you.
Go back to your post. Okay. Alan?
Mark Oristano working hard this evening. Jim Bostic has been guarding the Maverick locker room since the very first year, and he's probably seen a lot less basketball than a number of other people. As you see, guard Eddie Johnson took a cut to the head that is bleeding quite profusely, and Johnson back to the Sonic bench.
Alan, I'm not sure the first couple of years of this franchise he needed to guard the locker room.
Kevin Williams is subbed into the game for Johnson. He's handling the ball here. Mavericks, since being down, 27-20, have been on a very impressive run. As you see, Dallas is shooting here in this period, 4 of 5.
It's Dallas on a 24-14 run.
Clement Johnson again looking for a shot. Much more tonight than we have seen. And 4 for Clement Johnson as Seattle gets back to within 1.
Important possession for Seattle there to call the timeout and literally for Eddie Johnson's sake and the team's sake, stop the bleeding.
And then get the points. Blackman finds himself guarded by Nate McMillan. Inside, though, Clement Johnson comes over to get the block. And Williams at the other end. Tips it, but Shrimp tips it better to Roe Blackman.
Wrong feed there. Never give it to the big man 15 feet from the hoop.
Tarpley very short. And Dale Ellis trying to beat the Mavericks to the other end, but can't.
Again, notice how Seattle stops, Allen. This lineup is designed to stop the basketball, take the pace out of the game.
Williams looking to lay it off for Clement Johnson, but the Mavericks knock it out of bounds with 6 seconds left on the shot clock. And here comes tonight's best scorer back into the contest, Xavier McDaniel, replacing Kevin Williams. McDaniel with 18 in the first quarter. Johnson outside. Who told Clement Johnson he was a designated shooter? Brad Davis in a hurry. Shuffles it off to Blackman, who again drives to the hoop. And again, will be rewarded with the free throws.
He's just a machine. He just wants the hoop now. See, again, realize how much this club misses Alton Lister. In normal regular season situation with Lister back in there who blocks 2.5 shots a game, Seattle loves for you to come at Lister. He'd block a lot of those shots, but tonight there's no shot blocker back in there. So Dallas taking it right to the iron.
That foul was the second on Xavier McDaniel and Roe Blackman. So the free throw attempts 5 and 6 for Blackman. Mark Aguirre is back on for the Mavericks with 11 points as he replaces Roy Tarpley. Detlef Schrempf is also out of the ball game as Sam Perkins returns. Roe Blackman with 13. And the Maverick advantage is back up to 3 as the huge disparity at the foul line. Perkins reaches in the backcourt and gets called for his second, third on the Mavericks. Officials really let them bang on Thursday night, but are calling the game much tighter this evening.
I think there may be a possibility the officials fear this situation getting out of hand. There was some pushing and shoving the other day, and if they let them bang, I think there's some bit of fear that these two teams would go after each other.
Ellis over Blackman. McDaniel. Ball will still belong to the Sonics. Pace of the game has slowed down here in this quarter.
Very much so. Bernie Bickerstaff's low-pace lineup has really done its job.
Ellis misses again, and Donaldson comes away with it as Sam Perkins hits the deck. Ahead to Blackman. Ball goes off of Rowe's fingertips. Mavericks, there's no doubt about it, are not nearly as sharp in the first half tonight as they were Thursday, but you can't be expected to play back-to-back games like that. Roe Blackman even agreed with me. It's probably the best wire-to-wire game in the franchise's history. Here's Chambers. And Donaldson with yet another rebound. 5 so far on the night.
Seattle's gone cold, but Dallas hasn't done a great deal to take advantage of it.
Perkins, 5-point Maverick lead, their largest of the night, and 6 points for Sam Perkins.
Oh, Johnson really nails Davis on the pick.
Big time screen by Clement Johnson on Brad Davis. Here's Chambers wide open. 6 now for Chambers as he matches Sam Perkins' production. You see the screen thrown by Clement Johnson.
That was also an elbow thrown by Clement Johnson, and that could have been called.
Brad Davis, the trap double by Seattle. Here's Perkins. Got by his man, but then fell down, and Sam Perkins is hurt. Meanwhile, Ellis at the other end lays it home, but Sam Perkins on the floor, and Dick Motta will call his 22nd timeout for this half as Perkins evidently hit a wet spot on the floor, lost his footing after he went around Clement Johnson. And Dick Motta coming over, and Sam Perkins in some discomfort. Two of the Maverick doctors are out there, Howard Moore, Dr. Zamorano. Now Dallas will either have to get Perkins up or use a full timeout as the horn is sounded that the 20-second timeout is over. As we'll show you what happened to Sam Perkins.
Yeah, the ankle just gives way as he tries to plant and come underneath.
Take another angle.
Let's give you one more angle. Yeah, it turns over on him. Yep.
As Perkins being assisted off the floor by the Maverick team doctors, and he will be taken right to the locker room, no doubt for x-rays. So the Mavericks will sub Roy Tarpley back into the game, and we'll await further developments on the condition of Sam Perkins.
Whoa, Maverick fans, you want something to worry about, it's walking down the aisle. Not only for this series, but for future series.
Davis to Aguirre. Takes one step in, uses the glass. Mark has 13. Maverick advantage is back up to 3. Xavier McDaniel in a hurry. Can't coach this one in, and James Donaldson rips down another board.
Dallas looks to be on fire. That injury may have sparked this club.
Tarpley's miss, boarded by Aguirre in traffic. Young slaps it out of bounds.
Sometimes it takes a play like that to get a club jolted back to intensity. Chambers playing way off Aguirre.
And Aguirre sizes him up and fires over him. But Tarpley tips the ball out to himself, and the Mavericks will get a third shot. And once again establishing a 5-point lead.
So good at doing that without getting a... Oh, and Aguirre knocked flying by Johnson.
Boy, Clement Johnson popped Aguirre while blocking the shot. Mark is now down. Mavericks ball with 15 seconds on the shot clock.
Look out, games like this Dallas has often disappeared in. Now the block is clean.
Nice pass by Blackman to hit Aguirre. Looked for all the world like he had the open shot. Mark went down hard on his left side. Will try to walk it off. Mavericks get Tarpley open. And Roy rattles in another long-range shot as Tarpley continues to drift outside. He's now got 8 off the bench after 25 off the bench in game 1. And Blackman goes for the steal in the backcourt. McDaniel handles the ball for the Sonics. Chambers to the basket. But Tarpley takes down the rebound. And the Mavericks on a nice run here midway through the second period. Davis. 7-point lead for Seattle.
Allen, one more thing with Perkins out of this game with the bad ankle. Tarpley isn't as free to foul as he usually is.
Mavericks up by 7. Clement Johnson makes it a 5-point contest.
Aguirre with the right idea, just late getting over on weak side help there.
Blackman doubles, gets to the baseline. Ball is blocked out of bounds by Tom Chambers. Mark Orsano is standing by in the tunnel with word on Sam Perkins' injury.
When we talked with Dr. Jose Zamorano, he said that Sam just twisted his left ankle. They're going to ice it down and not even bothering to x-ray it, and they are really not going to be certain whether or not he'll be back in the game until they just see how the progress of the game is going. Possibly he can come back if needed, but likely not. Alan?
Okay, Mark, thank you very much. And I guess the good news there is that it's obviously not anything real serious that would go beyond tonight's contest as Russ Shaney back into the game for the Sonics.
Well, you don't know, but the nice thing is the doctors not x-raying at all. It not being that serious that they fear that.
Yes. Well, they're going to give the Mavericks a full 24 seconds here. After the Chambers block, as it's ruling as the ball touched the backboard. So that constitutes a shot and resets the 24-second clock with the Mavericks still in possession. Aguirre. Donaldson tips it, but to McMillan. Ahead to Ellis in the open floor. Dale, 3-point opportunity. 13 for Ellis as Roe Blackman gets called for his first and the team's 4th. And the Sonics continue to hang tough as Ellis will go to the foul line to make it only a 2-point Dallas advantage. Wait, you remember when Ellis was in Dallas and the knock was he couldn't take the ball to the basket? Boy, he certainly changed that.
Couldn't dribble the ball. Could shoot, could offensive rebound. Couldn't put it on the floor and hurt you was the book. Ooh. Throw that book out.
14 now for Ellis, who scored well Thursday night. 22 points in 21 minutes, but was shackled by foul difficulties all evening. Here's Harper. And one for Derek Harper.
Boy, Seattle made a mistake, Alan. They tried to switch for a minute just to confuse Dallas. They put Ellis on Harper. Harper's eyes got the size of beach balls and said, clear this puppy out for me. Here he comes.
And then Clement Johnson gets there too late. And Harper with a chance for the three-point play.
Alan, I think the definition of leaving a guy in your wake is when you put the ball in the basket, he's 15 feet from you.
Yeah, Dale basically waved goodbye at the beginning of Harper's drive. Of course, they are very good off-the-court friends. That friendship started in Dallas, and Harper was telling me even now he must talk to Dale Ellis 2, 3, 4 times a week, every week. Clement Johnson. Boy, wow. Clement Johnson, who averaged 3 points a game in the regular season, attempted only 1 shot in game 1, has 8 points in the first half tonight. Aguirre. Another three-point opportunity for the Mavericks as Aguirre rattles one in and is fouled. That's going to be number 3 on Tom Chambers. And the crowd will love that. And a mock standing ovation for Chambers. Timeout will be called before Mark Aguirre can go to the free throw line to finish off this possession as he bangs one in off the glass, and they called the foul on Chambers. Aguirre with 15 as the Mavericks lead the Sonics as we wind down the first half by 5. Completed as first-round action in the NBA playoffs continues, and no real surprise at the Forum this afternoon.
No, the Lakers, the final score is very deceiving there. Lakers led this game by 16 points early in the second quarter and just coasted past the Nuggets. In fact, they led them by 24 with under 6 minutes to go, and only a late run by the Nuggets made it look more respectable.
Coming up at halftime tonight, we'll discuss NBA expansion with committee member Norm Sanju. The Mavericks general manager will explain why 4 cities were chosen and give us the rationale for the addition of both Florida contenders. Plus, a look at some of the key plays and trends from tonight's first half, as well as halftime stats. That's coming up at halftime tonight. You also saw one other game on the playoff schedule for tonight. Game 2, Golden State at Utah, with the Jazz leading that series 1-0. Tom Chambers out of the game with 3 fouls. Maurice Lucas is back on, and Sonics don't get the ball inbounds in time. A 5-second violation is called. Seattle turns it over, and Bernie Bickerstaff furious with the lack of execution there. You know, Seattle went to sleep.
You know who gets major credit for that? Aguirre, who shot the foul and found his man immediately and then knocks it in. 5 points in 2 seconds for Aguirre.
And 18 for the half, as he ties Xavier McDaniel for high point honors. McDaniel had all 18 of his in the first quarter. Here's Derek Harper. Called for the reach-in on Dale Ellis, and that'll put the Sonics into the penalty with 2:41 to go. But slowly and surely this quarter, Norm, is Dick Motta looking over the table for the television replay, but there's not one. Dallas with an 8-point lead.
Yeah, they pulled away. They were down 1 at the end of the quarter. Remember we talked about the pace of the game has to be slowed down? It really isn't going to be. Dallas has 28 points in the quarter with 2:41 to go. What's happened is the pace of the Seattle scoring has gone down as they've tried to slow the game down.
Ellis, a 79% free thrower, 2 for 2. Second highest scoring guard in the league this year. And you know who number 1 was.
Yeah, well, he's in another league.
He led the entire league by a long shot. Michael Jordan. Ellis with 16 now. Token backcourt pressure here by the Sonics.
Again, the switch. They've got Harper covered by Ellis.
Blackman gets it to Harper for 3. Maurice Lucas pulls down the rebound. Now the Sonics look to up-tempo, but then slow it down. Here's Lucas. Shaney left alone. Basically dared to take that shot. And Russ Shaney knocks it home to make it a 4-point game. Harper all the way. Will go to the foul line.
You know, he looked like a running back coming down the lane.
That's Dale Ellis's third. For the second straight night, Ellis in first half foul difficulties. Yeah, he did really doing a good job of protecting the ball.
He looked like it was 3rd and 1. He had the first down. Just don't fumble the ball now.
Now, Dale Ellis has got a legitimate gripe, as the replay showed. It was Maurice Lucas's foul. And I think they're going to change it. Yeah, now the crowd will boo that, but that was the right call. If you saw the replay, Dale Ellis was nowhere near Derek Harper when the foul was committed. Lucas with the obvious reach, his second, and that helped Seattle's situation, obviously. Meanwhile, Danny Young is checked back into the game for Nate McMillan, and Harper had made his first 3 free throw attempts tonight. Misses that one. 7th in the NBA in steals this year, and he had 4 in game 1.
And unless something happens in the last couple of minutes, Seattle's still going to be uncomfortably close at the half in this game.
Yeah, definite morale victory in the first half for the Sonics, who just by avoiding the blowout have earned some self-confidence points. McGuire covering Ellis, and again they get the ball to Clement Johnson. And Johnson with a double-figure first half. A 3-point game. Harper, tough shot. Lucas gets it out to the open floor against Tarpley. And Ellis will challenge him, and successfully. 1-point game as we go under a minute and a half. And Dale Ellis on fire with 18 now in the half.
And an 8-1 run by Seattle.
Harper setting up the play as the crowd gets restless. Blackman low to Donaldson. Up top to Harper again for 3. Badly missed, and Aguirre can't save it. And Seattle with the ball, looking for the lead as Aguirre sprints onto the court, as we'll go under a minute on this possession. Xavier McDaniel into the game for Clement Johnson, who has really given the Sonics some unexpected offense. Ellis outside against Blackman, looking for somewhere to go. Here's Lucas. Shaney tips it to McDaniel. Sonics lead as we're under 40 seconds left in the half. Xavier McDaniel now with a game-high 20. Blackman to Aguirre. Roy Tarpley with the tip. 10 and a half for Tarpley. Seattle will play for the last shot, as again it's the Mavericks by 1. And a complete reversal of the first half from game 1, which was dominated by the Mavericks. Ellis. McDaniel. Lucas. They're going to call a loose ball foul on Seattle. It's on Maurice Lucas. And the Mavericks will shoot free throws to end the first half as Lucas gets called for his 3rd. And the 13-year pro out of Marquette makes an unveteran-like mistake, and James Donaldson, an 81% foul shooter, who was 7 of 7 in game 1, will attempt to stretch out the Mavericks' very small advantage. It's now 2. Donaldson with 6 rebounds. That's his first point of the half. And it remains at 2. And so the big story in the first 24 minutes, Seattle hangs tough. They led for much of the first half, but the Mavericks come back in the final moments, paced by Mark Aguirre's 18 points, Rolando Blackman's 13. They'll lead it at the intermission. Sonics are paced by Xavier McDaniel with 20, Dale Ellis with 18, and unexpectedly 10 points from center Clement Johnson. It's the Mavericks by 2 at the end of the half.
Mavericks at halftime. We're visiting with Rick Sun, the Mavericks player personnel director. And Rick, if Thursday night was a measure of frustration for Seattle, tonight is a measure of just an even matchup between two teams.
I tell you, thus far it's been a great ball game, and it's pretty much what you expect in game 2, I think. The first game generally happens where the home team has a pretty good run and will generally win by the spread. Second game, they make adjustments. The home team reads some things in the paper. I'm taking nothing away from Dallas. We played pretty good. The fact of the matter is that they
confidence factor at work here on the part of the Mavericks after blowing a team out like that on Thursday?
I would say if we had scored less than 60-some points maybe, but I think we're playing our game. I think more than anything else, the key is that Seattle's made some tremendous adjustments. Namely, their forwards are bringing the ball up the court as opposed to their guards.
You're getting good play tonight from Mark Aguirre. He's leading the Mavericks, but Xavier McDaniel is a whole. I think they've got a new player inside his body tonight on offense.
Well, there's no question that he's an offensive threat tonight. I think we made some adjustments defensively. We had Mark on Chambers quite a bit, and Sam, which surprised me a little bit. But Xavier's taking it to the hole. He's got a lot of offensive rebounds. They're playing very well and shooting the ball extremely well.
They're getting inside for rebounds. They're getting inside for short shots. They're just doing things tonight that they didn't do on Thursday night. Is it just a difference in temperament or attitude or coaching? What happened?
I think it's a combination of all of them. Coaching from a standpoint of making adjustments, temperament from the standpoint of being a little more comfortable, not nearly as tight, not nearly the jitters, and thirdly, I think the fact that, hey, they're a young club, they're now into the playoff scheme.
Turning around, looking over our shoulders, we see Sam Perkins is back on the court warming up for the second half. That's got to be a good sign for your club.
That's definitely a good sign. It looks to me from the stands that he just rolled an ankle, so I don't think it's too serious.
Very physical ball game tonight. There's a lot of shoving going on. That I would guess is an indication of Seattle's dedication tonight, isn't it?
Very physical and surprisingly officiated very tight, so there's a lot of fouls on both teams.
Are you surprised at anything that's happened out here this evening?
Well, I'm surprised that they could score with us like they have. When we score 66 points usually, or 64, whatever we have, generally we're ahead by about 10 or 12, so I'm surprised that they're staying this close.
I assume you want a short trip to Seattle, don't you?
Absolutely.
Rick Sun, thanks for joining us at halftime. 66-64 is our score at halftime. We've been visiting with Rick Sun, the Mavericks player personnel director. Let's go back to Alan Stone.
Okay, Mark and Rick, thank you very much. And Norm Hitzkus, as we check the official halftime stats, the big advantage for the Mavericks is at the foul line again.
Huge there. Again, they've outshot them 16 attempts to 9. But look at the Seattle advantage in shots from the field. 11 more than Dallas. Seattle beaten on the boards, but plus in turnovers. Seattle's done a good job of hanging in this game. And Allen, 6 turnovers. I swear Seattle had 6 turnovers at the 6-minute mark the other night.
Yeah, interestingly enough, though, for that entire game, they only had 14. Mavericks getting to the foul line. Aguirre 6 out of 6. Roe Blackman 5 of 6. Harper 4 of 5. So the Mavericks doing their job there. Tom Chambers had a strange first half. Limited only 6 points on 3 of 7 shooting. No rebounds and the 3 personal fouls. He joins Maurice Lucas as the Sonic players in some foul difficulty. Mavericks don't really have anyone in foul problems at this point. James Donaldson with an interesting half.
Yes, only 1 shot from the field. Didn't make it. The center matchup right now in comparable amounts of minutes. Clement Johnson has 10 points to Donaldson's 1. Donaldson 7 boards to Johnson's 2, each an assist, each 2 personal fouls. But Allen, you had to believe the Mavericks thought they had a big advantage at center, both on the boards and in point potential, and it hasn't proven to be that.
No, it really hadn't. In fact, we were talking throughout the first half. As you see, Sam Perkins not only is back, but he is going to begin the second half on the floor. He does have a sprained left ankle, but he's going to give it a go as he and Tom Chambers share a joke. We kept talking about the unexpected offense from Clement Johnson. The reason why we were talking about that was his season high for a game, an entire game, over an 82-game season was 12 points. He had 10 in the first half tonight. Here's Xavier McDaniel going right back to work. Game high 22. McDaniel is now 10 of 15 from the field. He also had 4 boards in that first half. That tied for team high with Nate McMillan, the point guard. Mavericks were led on the boards by Donaldson with 7. Harper drives and gives it up to Donaldson. And what's the call out front? 3 seconds on Sam Perkins.
See, Jack Madden signaled like it was a foul. He signaled the number first and then the foul, then the violation.
And Seattle looks to get even. That's the 9th turnover against the Mavericks. Here's Ellis, who was 7 of 14 shooting in the first half. And here goes Clement Johnson. An offensive machine. He has already matched his best of this season. He was the backup center in Philadelphia last year and started in the playoffs when Moses Malone went down. He's the backup center for Seattle this year. As you see, Blackman with a chance for the 3-point play. But continuing on about Clement Johnson, he is the starting center in the playoffs because of the non-availability of Alton Lister.
only the first foul on McMillan, who fouled out of the game the other night with 8 seconds gone in the fourth period. McMillan, Alan, you have to say Bickerstaff has gotten what he needed out of Nate McMillan. Not a great game, but he hasn't hurt him at all.
5 of 9 shooting now for Blackman, and 6 of 7 free throws. It adds up to 16 points. And the Mavericks go back on top by 1, but only momentarily as McDaniel beats Aguirre at the top of the key, and no one picks him up, and Xavier strolls home.
That's the key. McDaniel beat him 28 feet from the basket, and nobody noticed it.
That's the old look-out play, and Mark failed to yell look out. Here's Perkins.
Oh, my, no call.
Players were expecting a call, and that's why Aguirre was able to sneak in and get the rebound and put it through, and here's the drive by McDaniel a moment ago. He, like many of the better players in the NBA, has the very convincing finish on those drives. Bad-looking shot by Chambers, and Harper comes away with it. Perkins. 3-point advantage for the Mavericks as Perkins goes to work. Bernie Bickerstaff wants to use his 22nd timeout for this half. With just under 10 minutes to go, that's kind of an interesting time to use up your 20. But Bickerstaff obviously seeing something he doesn't like, and he is scolding his Sonics, and in particular Tom Chambers.
Tell you what, he's done a marvelous job here getting this club ready. Because, Alan, this club walked out of this arena the other night lower than a curbstone.
In shambles, as the old cliche goes, as Dick Motta up off the Maverick bench to shout out encouragement. Dallas will go to the press. There's Daryl Gerritsen, the supervisor of officials for the NBA, and some officiating himself in observance tonight.
Did he buy that popcorn?
Clement Johnson with the offensive board puts it in. Sonics again close to within 1, and that man you just saw continues to be one of the key stories tonight. 14 points for Clement Johnson. Aguirre. 3 Sonics on him, but Mark. Yes! Another 3-point play opportunity for Mark Aguirre. Boy, I tell you what. He took on 3 Sonics and won the battle.
As Marv Albert would say in New York, in jail.
Foul was on McDaniel, his 3rd.
Alan, how did he get out of there?
I don't know. Boy, Aguirre has his game face on again tonight. First miss from the foul line after 6 makes. In fact, going back to game 1, that stopped a string of 10 consecutive free throws for Mark Aguirre.
Tell you what, young McMillan looks like he's got his game face back on, too.
Here's Ellis coming off a screen and popping through the jump shot, and Ellis gets to 20. So McDaniel in the battle of fall small forwards has a 2-point advantage over Aguirre, 24-22. Ellis at the off guard has a 4-point advantage over Blackman, 20-16. Here's Harper. Aguirre works on Russ Shaney, who's into the game. Sonics come up with the ball.
McMillan with another nice play.
Boy, the Sonics got Chambers out of there in a hurry, didn't they? For Russ Shaney. And they get the ball to Clement Johnson. Really a give and go to McMillan, who ends up shuffling it out to Shaney, who banks it off the glass for his 2nd hoop.
McMillan's been a key to this run, a steal, an assist, handle the ball well. He's got assists the last 2 hoops Seattle's made.
And the Sonics have moved back on top. 15th lead change of the night. Interesting if they jerked Tom Chambers out of the game so quick. The foul was on Xavier McDaniel. So Chambers only has the 3 fouls that he picked up in the first half, but has not been very productive so far. Ellis trying to get the early jump on Blackman. Moved his feet without getting the ball to the floor. And the Mavericks will again look to take the lead as the turnover picture still in favor of the Sonics despite the miscue by Dale Ellis.
But notice how the pace of the game is getting slower and slower and slower as we go along the game.
Perkins along the baseline. Sam shows no signs of that ankle sprain in the first half and goes into double figures with that hoop.
This is nothing like that 35-34 first quarter we played, is it?
No, it isn't. Even though the second quarter was close, 32-29 Dallas. McDaniel bangs, screams, and has 26 points. Boy, what a night for the X-Men. Here's Blackman, blocked by Shaney, who comes away with it ahead to McDaniel, to Ellis.
Oh, it's a travel.
Yeah, and they call it. Late call by Jack Madden, but he got there to make it. And another turnover by Dale Ellis. The Sonics in transition can't convert.
Boy, has Bickerstaff done a job putting Humpty Dumpty back together again.
And we're nearly halfway through the third quarter, and the Sonics with a 1-point lead. Perkins. Well, he continues to be a focal point of the Mavericks offense this quarter. 6 in the period. As we continue to seesaw back and forth. Young for 3. Dale Ellis and McDaniel keep it alive. Xavier pulls it out. Derek Harper had not a steal in that first half. Ellis can't hit. Shaney and Perkins. Ball is knocked out of bounds. Will be given to the Mavericks. Play will be stopped with 6:05 still to go in the third. Sam Perkins has had a strong quarter for the Mavericks. And in a seesaw period, they lead Seattle by 1.
Quarter, we're visiting with Linda Carter, the wife of the Mavericks majority owner Donald Carter. Now, you've coached this game before. What's the problem here tonight?
That's right. Well, we're just a little bit slow tonight, but they've come out ready to play. They got humiliated the other night, so I don't blame them. They ought to come out and play hard, but we got to play harder. So I'm a little nervous. I wish we were more than 1 point ahead.
Well, have confidence, okay?
Pardon me?
Have confidence.
Oh, I do, but you know, it doesn't help the nerves. So anyway, I'm excited.
I thought she was going to say hi, Mom, but she doesn't have to because her mom is sitting right back here. Alan?
Thank you, Mark. Well, you got to give the Sonics some credit. Dallas is shooting 57% from the field, Norm. 27 free throw attempts to only 9 for the Sonics, and yet it's a 1-point game. Seattle hanging in. More than that, really. Donaldson up high, takes the ball to Harper, gives it right back. Mavericks again set up Sam Perkins. Can't convert. Loose ball foul on Aguirre. His third. That's the first on the Mavericks this half. Sonics have yet to get to the free throw line this quarter.
You know, you asked why Chambers sat down for Shaney. Shaney's come in and really mixed it up on the boards. He's played outstanding position on the boards and drew that one.
On Aguirre.
Yeah, tell you what, this crowd's very, very quiet. That's another thing Seattle's done tonight, is taken this sellout crowd out of the game.
Where the crowd was just electric in game 1. We've had 8 lead changes in this quarter already, and 18 for the game. Here's Clement Johnson. He finally misses, and Roe Blackman out of the pack. Mavericks by 3 as Blackman gets to 18 and worked hard for those two.
We talk about pace in the game. Through 7 minutes of the period, Dallas leads the period 15-14.
Kevin Williams off to Shaney. Seattle reaching into their bench, and Shaney's given him 6 off the bench. He was a 37% field goal shooter on the regular season. And again, Seattle stays within 1, or back to within 1. Oh, Sam Perkins wide open as the Sonics drawn to Aguirre like a magnet. And Perkins has 8 of his 14 in this quarter, when it was doubtful at the intermission we would see Sam Perkins anymore tonight with an ankle sprain. Here's Kevin Williams.
He'll shoot.
But not successfully, and the Mavericks are going to beat the Sonics down the floor, and Aguirre has 24, and Bernie Bickerstaff will stop play as he didn't like the lack of defensive effort there by his ball club. Crowd up at Reunion with a little more than 4 minutes to go in the period. Mavericks in transition set up Aguirre for the point-blank shot, and it's Dallas by 5 on the Mavericks Playoff Network. Mavericks by 5, a little over midway through the third quarter. Alan Stone and Norm Itzkus back at Reunion Arena, and Norm, is Dallas on the verge of taking control of this ball game? That's got to be the concern of the Sonics in their huddle.
That was exactly why Bernie Bickerstaff called a quick timeout there. He saw an easy basket. His team made a mistake. They flew everybody to the boards. Dallas got 2 men down the floor ahead of him. Bernie honestly believes he's got a chance to win this game, but he's at a critical juncture. He can't lose any more points to the Mavericks before the fourth quarter starts. Because, Alan, if they're down 9 or 11 to start the fourth quarter, they aren't going to come back in this building.
Crowd trying to exhort the Mavericks to go on and take total control of this contest. You saw Bill Winnington, the towel waiver from last year's playoffs, trying to get more playing time and less towel waving time this year.
Crowds that holler defense are usually worried about their home team.
Ellis forces the shot over Harper and into the basket. 22 now for Dale Ellis. So the Sonics have got 2 of their 3 big scorers untracked real well tonight. Tom Chambers limping back with only 6. As you see, both teams for the second straight game really shooting the ball so well. Ellis tries to stop Aguirre. Basket will not count. They'll call the foul out front on Dale Ellis, his third. Boy, Ellis, I mentioned that during game 1 that maybe they should try Ellis on Aguirre, but boy, Aguirre just muscled all over Dale Ellis there. And here, Aguirre falls down, really put to the ground by Ellis. No call. Let's see what happens at the other end.
Well, again, Madden has been wont to let people bang on Aguirre in the games he's officiated this year.
Tom Chambers is back on for Russ Shaney. Still trying to get untracked offensively. Here's Young wide open. Oh, Danny Young's first points of the night as the Sonics are again within a point. Roy Tarpley's into the contest for the Mavericks for James Donaldson, who's got ice on his right ankle on the Dallas bench. Tarpley, Lucas went for Tarpley and forced the rookie into a traveling violation.
Give some major credit to Bernie Bickerstaff for the last time out.
That's Donaldson's right ankle. He's been icing it off and on during the playoffs. I think that's the first time I've seen him icing it during a game. Lucas on for Seattle. Young again is open on the perimeter. And 2 for 2 out there is Danny Young. And he puts the Sonics back on top. So if this is a critical juncture in the game, it appears the Sonics are weathering it.
Seattle's done a marvelous job of staying within themselves tonight.
Nice pass by Aguirre to Perkins, and again Sam goes down, pushed. That's on Chambers. That's number 4.
Tell you what, it appears one other factor in Seattle's strategy tonight, Alan, is shut off the inside, but when they get inside, hammer them. Don't let them have the easy basket. Make them shoot the free throws. Make the game more physical.
On a night when most of the Sonics are having a positive reversal of their roles from Thursday night, Tom Chambers goes the other way. He had his career playoff high of 35 in game 1. Now, as we wind down the third quarter, he has 6 points and 4 fouls. Perkins misses on the free throw.
And Madden and Aguirre are having an animated conversation out near half court on why Madden didn't call a foul on Ellis.
Meanwhile, Chambers leaves one more time as Xavier McDaniel comes back into the game. Perkins with 9 in the quarter and 15 for the contest. But it did not appear to be a negative discussion between Aguirre and Madden.
No.
I think Madden was telling him the ground rules for calling the push from behind. That's what Mark was wanting. Here's McDaniel low, left-handed. Aguirre rips down the rebound. Brad Davis is on for Harper. Perkins to the basket. What a quarter for Sam Perkins. He had to sprain his ankle every game. That's 11 in the period.
It'll be a new thing. In the second quarter, always ice down Sam's ankle.
Mavericks up by 2. Here's Ellis. Tarpley flies at him. Nice defensive adjustment by Tarpley, who switched over and forced Ellis to get that shot over his 7-foot frame, and it was woefully short. Blackman. Young will be called for the reach. That's the 5th foul on Seattle, and the Mavericks get to the penalty, but much later in this quarter than in the first half. Shaney is back on as Young departs. Williams is also out of the game. Nate McMillan is back in.
To give you some idea of what kind of coaching job Bernie Bickerstaff's doing, he's got McMillan, a second-round rookie point guard, Danny Young fished out of the CBA, Eddie Johnson fished out of the CBA, Shaney fished out of Italy, and Maurice Lucas released by the Lakers, and those are 5 of his key players tonight.
I'll tell you something else. He's keeping him in the ball game without much help from the officials. Sonics have not shot a free throw in this quarter. For the Mavericks, this will be their 6th attempt. And for the game, that now means
31-9. Ouch.
It's hard to win under those circumstances. Blackman's 2 free throws get him to 20, and the advantage up to 4.
Again, Seattle facing a critical minute or so as we end the 3rd period.
There's Lucas up top. McGuire and Ellis. Ellis saves it to Lucas. Foul is called inside against the Mavericks. Sam Perkins gets called for his 3rd, and McGuire continues to show his emotions. Was it a shooting foul? Apparently so, as Mo Lucas, an 80% free thrower and 2 of 2 tonight, will go to the line.
Good call. Perkins had moved into Lucas' path. Was not set. When McGuire throws a towel, Blackman goes over and picks it up to make it look like Mark just inadvertently tossed it aside. Look out, that could have been a tee.
These are the first free throw attempts by Seattle in this period. McGuire emoting freely tonight, but having a strong ball game. Lucas makes it a 2-point game, and Seattle just won't go away. After being absolutely taken apart in game 1, Seattle is right there tonight. Time left in the 3rd quarter. McMillan reaches in on Blackman. Somehow, regains control of the ball, gets it into the basket left-handed.
Utterly unbelievable that he comes through the hole with the ball.
22 now for Blackman. McDaniel. Ellis low. Tarpley right there snuffs him, but Ellis stays after it. And Dale with 24. And again, it's a 2-point game as we see Roe Blackman's drive a moment ago. Boy, that is great instinctive reaction by the Mavericks' 3-time All-Star guard. It's about a 3-second difference between the game and shot clock. Brad Davis will try to bleed some time.
Look at McMillan overplaying to the right.
Shot clock down to 3. Davis loses the ball, no foul. 5 seconds to go in the quarter. McMillan. McDaniel. Ooh, had that one online, but too hard. That would have given the Sonics the lead because it was a 3-point attempt. Dick Motta not happy about the lack of a call on Brad Davis. We'll go to the final quarter at Reunion, and a completely different circumstance tonight as Dale Ellis, amongst others, has kept the Sonics close. It's Mavericks by 2 as we head for the stretch.
The 4th quarter, we're with Ernie Staudtner, the Cowboys defensive coordinator. Ernie, who are the better athletes, your guys or the basketball players?
Well, I'll tell you, these guys look pretty good from what I see. To see the size of them move around as quickly as they do is very impressive.
It's a very physical ball game tonight. This is the way you used to play football.
I really enjoy this type of game. It's kind of the type of basketball that I like.
You ready for a good draft?
Oh, we're very positive. We need a good draft.
Mark, thank you very much. Alan Stone back with Norm Itzkus. Roy Tarpley gets the ball in to start period number 4 against full court pressure. Scoring in quarters tonight, representative of the closeness of the game. We'll show that to you in just a minute, but the Mavericks setting up for their first offensive possession. Blackman's air ball. Shrimp is on for the Mavericks, but Lucas pulls it down. A couple of interesting stats for you. Seattle has attempted 20 more shots from the field than have the Mavericks tonight, but the Mavericks have been to the foul line 20 more times than have the Sonics. Here's McDaniel. Walk. There's their period scoring.
Look at the pace come down in the game, though. Seattle 35-29-26. Dallas 34-32-26. Expect this fourth quarter to be played around 20 to 25 points each.
McMillan gets called for the foul, going for the steal on Brad Davis. Mavericks are shooting 59% for the game to 51% for Seattle. Rebounding a 4-board advantage for the Mavericks as we check the Budweiser scoreboard tonight. In the second quarter, Utah looking to go up 2-0 over Golden State. Blackman. Blackman gets it back as it comes off of Shaney's fingertips. Tarpley. 12 points tonight. His first in this half.
He's like a magnet in there, isn't he? The ball just suddenly winds up in his hands all the time.
Seems to seek him out.
You know, it's like 6 guys, 6'11", jump for the ball, and Tarpley always seems to get it.
McDaniel off the glass. McDaniel continues to lead all scorers in tonight's game with 28. Tarpley also has 6 rebounds to go with 12 points.
It's the type of game that Blackman's usually a huge factor in because he loves to get the ball and drive.
Sizing up McDaniel. Late whistle. But the foul is going to be on McDaniel. His fourth.
Poor Shaney. They call a foul on McDaniel. Shaney made a wonderful play to slide over and get in the path and make the block. Now watch Shaney.
But McDaniel reached in first.
That's right. Shaney did a great job to get in the way to draw a possible charge, but McDaniel fouled first.
Chambers back into the game. Wait. For McDaniel.
Wait, they're calling that non-shooting, Alan?
I guess. I don't know how. How in the world is that a non-shooting?
What would he have done with the ball? Autograph it before he came down?
They must have called the contact way out front on the drive.
And it was a late whistle, wasn't it?
Yes. Davis. Here's Tarpley. Clement Johnson gets it to Danny Young. And the Sonics look to get even in the early, the first 2 minutes here of the fourth quarter. Seattle, for the first time this season, staying with the Mavericks into the fourth quarter of a ball game. Danny Young, top of the key. And Tarpley pulls down the miss. So the Mavericks lead is protected at least momentarily. Davis. Shrimp. Makes it a 4-point game.
Look at Bickerstaff holding his hands up, saying, hey, that's okay, walk it up.
James Donaldson all right after putting some ice on the ankle. He's at the scorer's table. Ellis, long, but Clement Johnson hacked as he goes to the basket. That's Sam Perkins' fourth. Donaldson is back on. It'll be for Perkins. Donaldson with only 1 point in the game. Perkins had 11 of his 17 in that third quarter. Comes Kevin Williams subbing in for Seattle as Dale Ellis checks out. Johnson with 14 points on the night, 6 boards and 2 blocks. In 4 of the 5 regular season meetings between these teams, Clement Johnson was scoreless. You count game 1 of this series, make it 5 out of 6. He went for the snide. Norm Itzkus, and 14 or 15 so far tonight.
Don't forget, though, Clement was a very valuable reserve back on that good Sixer team a couple of years ago. He's a pretty good player.
You saw Ro Blackman check out of the game as Derek Harper returned. Johnson, not a very good free throw shooter. 62% on his career, but nails those 2.
Now you say it.
Davis. Clement Johnson, and Tarpley, I believe, is going to be called for the foul. Second on the Mavericks, second on Tarpley. And again, Seattle comes down the floor, Norm, with a chance to get even. Danny Young looking, nowhere to go. Goes even higher to Williams. Here's Chambers. Shot clock is down to 7. Chambers loses the ball, and Shrimp comes away with it. Throws the ball away. Well, that's a major break for Seattle, but boy, has Tom Chambers had a poor game tonight. As amazing as it on a night when the Sonics are playing so well, one of their key contributors in their captain has just not helped the cause much. Here's Shaney. That's a Tom Chambers-like play. Shaney has 8, 2 more than Chambers in the game, and we're even.
You know, you got to be amazed at Bickerstaff. Look at this lineup out there. Shaney from the Italian League, 2 CBA guards.
Clement Johnson, who's been a career backup, and Tom Chambers having one of the poorest nights of his career.
Who are these people?
Another late call here as Young reaches in on Tarpley. That's his 4th, 3rd on the Sonics, so the team fouls are 3-2. We'll go under 8 minutes on this possession by the Mavericks in the game. And nothing clear at this point. It is even. Johnson intercepts the pass. And Donaldson's going to be called for the loose ball foul, so the team fouls even out. And here comes Seattle after that turnover with a chance to take the lead. As you see Donaldson, the ruling is, at least, that he pushed off. We see Donaldson, we didn't see the pushing off. Clement Johnson. Oh, it is one of those nights. It is career playoff high now. Was 17. Johnson up to 18. And Jack Madden. Okay, that last foul, they wanted to correct that. But last foul on Donaldson, the ruling was it was an offensive foul. So the team fouls go back down to 2. Does not affect what you just saw. That was a call made about 30 or 40 seconds ago. The big point is that the Sonics lead it by a deuce. Tarpley. Great pick and go there between Brad Davis and Roy Tarpley. Pick and roll by Tarpley. You got to the hoop, actually trailing Davis. And Tarpley now up to 14 as the Mavericks get even.
Now, this is Clement Johnson's 8th year in the league. He has how many right now? 18?
Chambers gathers the lead for the Sonics with only his 8th point, yes.
He's never had more than 22 in a game in his life. Unbelievable.
Exactly.
He's never averaged for a playoff series better than 6 points a game.
Well, this is his best ever game in a playoff. Detlef Shrimp with a tough shot in the paint as the Mavericks get even at 100. As we're under 7 minutes to go, and what is turning into a crackerjack second game after most people had left the Sonics for dead after game 1. Chambers, shot clock is down to 7. Nearly impossible shot by Chambers, and Shrimp pulls it down.
Shrimp is too quick for Shaney if they can get a one-on-one with him.
Brad Davis sets up on the right side as the Mavericks go with their 2 point guards, and Young's going to be called for an obvious push. That's his 5th. 4th on the Sonics in this quarter. Timeout is called. 6:12 to go in the game. And the Mavericks and Seattle are tied at 100. Roy Tarpley off the bench with 14 so far. Vitskas back at Reunion Arena on the Mavericks Playoff Network. About the same point on in Game 1. Mavericks were ahead by 38. Right now it is tied And Norm, the possibility is certainly there this late in the contest that Seattle could win this ball game. That means we'd be going to Seattle with the series tied, and the Sonics having the home court advantage 2 of the final 3 games.
If they steal a game in this arena, it would shock the NBA, I believe. I don't think there's many people in the world thought Seattle would win a game in this series. I think as many people in the world thought in the 4th quarter they'd be in a game with Dallas in this series.
Well, they haven't won this one yet, but they're certainly close enough to make you think of the possibilities. Here's Shrimp. Aguirre, who's back on, loses the ball to Kevin Williams, the 3rd-year guard from St. John's, who has spent some time in the CBA. Here's Chambers. And Aguirre with the rebound, and Kevin Williams gets called for the reach, and that is a very costly foul because it puts the Mavericks into the penalty. Dallas has not been to the line yet this quarter. But Kevin Williams gives the Mavericks something that from Seattle's point of view they don't need. A chance to go to the line the rest of this quarter for the game. Dallas with a 28 free throw advantage. Xavier McDaniel is back on for the Sonics. Aguirre, who is 6 of 7 from the stripe.
Let's talk pace again, my friend. We've passed the halfway point in the period. If Aguirre makes this free throw, the quarter score will be 10-10.
Mavericks getting their thoroughbreds back in. Aguirre just came on and got to the foul line quickly, and Roe Blackman subbed in during the free throws.
Boy, has Seattle done a marvelous job of reining in the pace of the game and keeping it realistic.
And really haven't played Nate McMillan that much tonight. They really spotted him for the most part. Here's Clement Johnson demanding the ball. This one won't go, and Aguirre, ball came off a leg, and Xavier McDaniel saves it. Here's Ellis, who's back on. Tough shot in traffic by Dale Ellis, who has 26. That matches Aguirre. Leading scorer in the game is Xavier McDaniel with 28, and again we're even. Aguirre. Harper for 3. Aguirre chases it down. But the ruling is he went out of bounds before he got rid of the ball into the first row of fans.
Oh, Alan, from the replay, the Mavericks were very lucky. Tarpley got an arm on Ellis's arm. And right now, Seattle could have the ball and the lead had they whistled that one.
Play is stopped again with exactly 5 minutes to go, and we are still even as you enjoy the Mavericks Playoff Network.
5 minutes left to go in the ball game. Tony Martinez of Channel 8 is with us. This is a whale of a ball game tonight.
This is really a great game. You know, I think the difference, Xavier McDaniel and Clemens, unbelievable play tonight. Clemens amazing.
You expect Dale Ellis to do well, but the entire Seattle team is doing, I guess, enough to give you some fairly decent 10 o'clock highlights.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a hell of a show tonight. And it's one of those games where nothing seems, the crowd doesn't seem to be quite there. You know, the game wasn't quite in there yet, but looks like the last 5 minutes should be a lot better anyway.
Tony, thanks a lot. Alan?
All right, 5 minutes to go. We're still tied. And boy, you continue to think during those timeouts if Seattle should somehow sneak this game out. What an incredible reversal, role reversal in 48 hours. Going to Seattle into a pit of an arena, the Heck Edmondson Arena for games 3 and 4. Here's Danny Young. Clement Johnson with the offensive follow. He has 20. Realized his career best ever in 9 seasons is 22. Under 4.5 minutes to go, and Seattle has a 2-point lead. Perkins, Aguirre, looking at Chambers, shoots over him. Oh, McDaniel with the rebound. Seattle will slow it down. Goodness gracious me.
Dallas, in the first 8 minutes of this period, has 10 points.
Ellis, as Harper reaches in and takes the ball away. Harper, hammered by McDaniel.
Good foul, though. Good play by Harper to penetrate. Good foul by McDaniel, who made sure he didn't get the easy one.
But it's number 5 on the X-Man, who's the leading scorer in the game. He had to make that one, though, at this point in the contest, and that really makes that foul that Kevin Williams committed a few moments ago loom all the bigger because Harper at the stripe now with the Mavericks in the penalty. Derek with only 9 points on the night and none in this half.
And remember, a poor free throw shooter, the poorest amongst the Mavericks regulars, he said.
And on the night, 5 of 6. Only has 2 baskets. One of those with a three-pointer back very early in the first period. This one to get Dallas even. Full court pressure. Mavericks have already forced one 5-second violation. Well, they look to force a 10-second violation. Here's Aguirre. Knocks it out of bounds, and the Sonics have 4 seconds to get the ball over midcourt. 4 seconds or it's a turnover. Aguirre putting the defensive plan from McDaniel. And now the Mavericks will go to a full court press. But the Sonics beat it. Get the ball to Ellis. He's fouled.
Good job by Tarpley, though. That was a potential three-point play before Tarpley came over.
Only the 3rd team foul on the Mavericks. And the Sonics will go to the line.
Let me ask you something. Did you get the feeling even early in the game when Seattle was challenging Dallas that somewhere in here Dallas would break it open?
Certainly.
Did you get the feeling the crowd felt the same thing?
Yeah, crowd has been very flat all evening, as if it was inevitable. Ellis with 6 boards to go along with the 26 points. Nate McMillan has re-entered the game for Seattle after sitting most of this half. He's replaced Danny Young. Ellis makes it a 2-point Seattle lead. And now the Sonics will do a little pressing of their own. Under 3.5 minutes to go. Blackman turns it over. Stepped on the inline.
Boy, and you talk about a critical possession here. If Seattle were to go off 2 baskets as we go under 3 minutes and a half.
17th turnover of the night for the Mavericks. The possibilities are staggering. Boy, 2 hours ago, everybody thought this was a lock. You and I were talking about what dramatic things that Seattle has to do just to make a ball game in this second contest. Here's McDaniel. Tough shot, but Clement Johnson again bails him out. Ball is free. If that's a foul, Xavier McDaniel is out. And it is. Mavericks will go to the foul line, and boy, does that change the complexion dramatically.
And Allen, it appeared he batted the ball out of his own teammate's hands on the baseline.
Clement Johnson appeared to have boarded the miss, and McDaniel, bouncing around, knocked the ball loose. McDaniel has 28. Dale Ellis has that many. No, Harper reached in and got a hand on the ball.
In fact, that ball should have been ruled out of bounds because it hit McDaniel before he'd come back inbounds and reestablished himself. Mavericks going to break there.
And Harper again at the line, trying to tie it. Harper with 8 assists, but only 1 steal tonight after 4 takeaways in game 1. This one will get the Mavericks even with 2:58 to go. Seattle will stop play. Just under 3 minutes to go, and the crowd is nervous. Mavericks and the Sonics are tied. So if or when the next Mavericks home game will be, but if it is not televised by CBS, look for it to be available in the same format this one was, on a pay-per-view basis, local cable system. So stay in touch, and obviously the Mavericks will work through the newspapers to give you times and availability. But this one, tied.
Tell you what, 2:58 to go. I'll give you a stat out of the scoreboard. Do you realize 9 minutes and 2 seconds into this 4th quarter, the Mavericks starting lineup, Perkins, Aguirre, Donaldson, Harper, and Blackman, do not have a basket from the field this quarter. That's outrageous, Allen.
6 free throws by the starters, 2 by Aguirre, 4 by Harper. You see Bill Winnington, you saw Bill Winnington getting the towel out, and that shows you how tight this one is. Lucas is on for Seattle to replace McDaniel, who fouled out. Ball comes free, and what's the call? It goes over to the Mavericks.
Pass to himself was the call.
Lucas inside. No fouls were called, and Lucas caught his own miss without the ball having touched the rim or backboard. So the Sonics turn it over, and the Mavericks look for the lead.
This is usually where the ball goes to Blackman.
Here's a foul away from the play on Dale Ellis. Number 4 on Ellis, and that'll send Roll Blackman to the free throw line, and that's usually a sure thing. So Ellis, boy, I tell you, his fouls have been costly in this entire series. Blackman's got a run in this game of 8 in a row from the line.
Listen to this place get quiet.
That was the 24th lead change in the game. Blackman up to 24. Mavericks by 2. Ellis way outside. Chambers into the paint. Tough shot by Tommy Chambers, who just now gets to double figures. We go under 2 minutes in the game, and still anybody's contest. Blackman gives it off to Aguirre on a great pass. Seattle will stop play as Bernie Bickerstaff has come onto the court to argue something.
He's arguing because he said the timeout was called before they inbounded the ball. He wanted the ball to be able to go to half court, and Mahalik overruled him.
Here's the last play before the timeout. Blackman driving, but a great pass inside to Aguirre, who was open even farther inside than was Blackman. Bill Winnington up and cheering. Sonics with the ball. They're at the half at Salt Lake City, and Utah scored the final 17 points before intermission to take a 17-point lead into the half as they seek to go up 2-0 in that first-round series against Golden State.
Trying to free Ellis.
He's open. Oh, perfect. And we're tied again. Ellis has 30 points, leading scorer in the game. Boy, and the Sonics have been equal all night long. They have backed down nary a step.
Again, this is the Blackman post-up low.
Blackman with the ball. Shot clock is down to 6. Not the shot Blackman wanted, but Perkins saves it, but to the wrong team. And now Seattle looks for the lead.
If they'll hurry, they've got 5 on 4. Perkins is down the floor. They don't pick up the man. What a break for the Mavericks. Holy cow.
Young ball club, and they're looking back to Bernie Bickerstaff for instructions this late in the ball game instead of just taking control. Here's McMillan. Perkins with the rebound. It's missed. Perkins with the board. 43 seconds to go. Mavericks with the ball. And we continue to be tied. This game has been tied 20-some-odd times. I'm looking for the last stat sheet. Lost here in a mirror paper. Dale Ellison shot a moment ago. Very big.
Tell you what, at the other end, they made a mistake not hurrying the ball down the floor. Ellis has really come back to show the Mavericks something this evening. Well, Coach, the key here is 43 seconds left.
Yeah, each team is assured of one good possession, barring a turnover.
If Dallas plays it right, they're assured of 2 possessions to 1 for Seattle. That's the key here. If they can use 10 to 15 seconds as they shoot the ball, they're assured of getting it back.
We are sitting on the 14th tie of the evening. 24 lead changes. We'll say it again, diametrically opposite from Thursday night's Maverick blowout, which is the 6th straight time they had handled the Sonics with ease, but not tonight. In fact, Seattle has never been this close at this point in a game with Dallas all season.
This fourth quarter, they haven't been this close after 3 quarters, Al. Tell you what, you got to give major credit to Burnett. In 48 hours, he put this team back together psychologically.
And a young ball club that was able to respond to whatever it was Bernie Bickerstaff did and not allow themselves to be so far down to themselves that no one could pick them up out of the mires. You see Bernie Bickerstaff on the verge of what would be a major upset. Once again, you have to think about the possibilities.
And notice what he's done here. For defense, he goes to the quicker player, Shaney, at one of the forwards.
We go to Seattle after tonight for the next 2 games if they're scheduled.
Now the Mavericks aren't setting up quick enough here.
Shot clock is under 10. Here's Harper for 3. And Shaney with the rebound. Sonics will call time. That's their last timeout. There's 24 seconds on the game clock, 22 seconds on the shot clock. Seattle can move the ball to midcourt because it was not passed before the timeout. But the Sonics can basically bleed enough time to get the last good shot of regulation. And with the game tied, we're talking about a shot to win the game.
I don't know if they want to move it to half court, quite frankly. Blackman kicks to Harper. Gee, do you really want a 25-footer with the game on the line? Of course, if it goes, the game's virtually over.
I think the Mavericks' theory is in that situation, you take the best open shot. And the Mavericks have been very non-conscious of where the three-point stripe has been all season. But now, everything shifts to Seattle. Once again, we repeat that if the Sonics win, we're going to a little bitty tiny gym in Seattle that they say is a real tough place to play in just because it is so small. One fan bothered by all the lights in reunion tonight.
Well, now you come down to who do you want to take this shot? I'd say Ellis.
Yeah.
He's the most athletic on the club. He's very good at shooting outside, shooting off balance, can drive the ball. If it isn't Ellis, it would shock me.
Well, he has been to the foul line tonight, too, pretty regularly, 6 times. He converted 5. By the way, Derek Harper's attempted 5 3-pointers tonight, made the first one, missed the last 4, and he is the only Maverick to try a 3-point shot tonight. Normally, you would say, if not Ellis, Xavier McDaniel, the way he's played tonight, but he's fouled out. Chambers has just not played well, but he's not a bad option. He has 10 points, but is certainly capable. Mavericks are going to press full court, but Seattle is going to move the ball to midcourt. So the chess match continues between Dick Motta and his former assistant, Bernie Bickerstaff.
Lucas in for Shaney. They want Lucas's offensive potential here.
Nate McMillan with no Maverick on the ball. Get it in easily to Chambers. McMillan. Harper poking at the ball. Gets it to Ellis. Ellis. No. Perfect. Mavericks call time with for the final shot as 17,007 collective breaths were held on this shot by Dale Ellis.
Dead on line. This ball is down the hole if it's 2 inches shorter. Back iron and out.
And Perkins with the board. Now, who do the Mavericks want to set up for the final shot?
Well, again, you've got a chance to pass the ball once you get it inbound. It isn't like the guy that catches it has to shoot it on this club. Alan, quite honestly, with no offense to him, Mark Aguirre has not gotten good shots in these situations. Blackman is probably the best bet if you can get him the ball.
And Harper for the long-range bomb if you cannot.
Yes.
Derek Harper's probably been the best clutch shooter this year for the Mavericks. Blackman has a career of hitting the big shots. And Aguirre, with 28 points, is again not a bad option as we go inside the Maverick huddle to show you Dick Motta using the chalk.
What he wants, I think, is the off guard, the person stationed on the other side of the ball to come off a pick on the lane and come toward the ball to get it. Is Davis in the game? This is a normal procedure here. Yeah, Davis into the game to handle the ball. Now, let's see who lines up across from the free throw line, the far side of the floor. That seemed to be the play that Dick Motta was diagramming. That's Roe Blackman heading for that point right now. No, wait a minute now. Now it's Aguirre.
Jack Madden is telling Derek Harper he's got to come up to midcourt to take the ball in.
Oh, and they...
What are we doing?
They want
Dick
the ball...
Motta may be getting ready to use his 22nd timeout. He is.
What happens here, Alan, is the Mavericks diagrammed the play for that side of the floor, and Madden said, no, Perkins caught the ball on this side of the floor. It must be inbounded from this side, so the Mavericks have to redesign the play.
So Dick Motta wisely used his 22nd timeout to reset up the same play, no doubt, just moving the positions as they're going to go to the far side of the floor to inbound it. Dallas has the option, as did Seattle, to move the ball to midcourt after the timeout, since the ball was not moved forward before the timeout was called. And, of course, with 4 seconds to go, this is critical that they move the ball to midcourt and give themselves a better chance to get off a shot.
They flip-flopped it. Blackman is the man where Motta's chalk mark was. This is a Blackman off a pick by Aguirre and Davis, I think, on a double screen situation. Let's see.
Chambers will inbound. Shaney will inbound the pass, which will be thrown by Derek Harper.
Couldn't get it to him. He traveled, that's right.
They'll rule that who traveled, Harper or the man or Brad Davis?
No.
I was blocked by the fans.
The man inbounding the ball. You can't move your feet on the sideline.
Yeah, Harper moved on the sidelines and turned it over. Fans just to my left covered up everything after the ball left Harper's hand, but they'll say that Harper turned the ball over. And now the Sonics get it back with 4 seconds left. Mavericks sub Tarpley back in for Brad Davis.
And now Seattle has no timeouts to set up a play here. They've just got to wing it.
Mavericks still have one, but they don't have the ball. Nate McMillan will inbound it. Dick Motta telling the Mavericks what to do if Seattle misses. Here's Ellis. Swatted down with 2 seconds to go. And what's the call?
Foul.
On the Maverick side.
Oh, my.
It's on Sam Perkins. Sam Perkins fouled Dale Ellis, who will go to the line with 2 seconds to go in the game tied. Ellis has made 5 straight free throws, and Dick Motta turns his back on the call by official Jack Madden.
I'm not so sure he wasn't turning his back on his own team, Alan. At 25 feet and off balance, I think he'd have preferred to let him have that.
Seattle by 2. Dale Ellis, the former Maverick, hits 2 free throws with 2 seconds to go. He has a game-high 32, and the irony is rather obvious if the Mavericks don't do something rather potent with 2 seconds to go. Here's the inbounds pass as Harper moved down the line, and that was a good call.
Yes.
Because he moved forward on the offensive end before he released the ball, and that is a violation.
We should explain that.
Now here's the inbound play the other way. Here's Ellis in the corner. They'll say the foul was on Perkins, and really not much doubt about it, as Perkins in Dale Ellis's face. Sam reaching in for the ball, but I think, unless we have another angle that shows something else, that Perkins did get part of Ellis. Well, body contact for sure.
Alan, we should explain that travel rule. It's one of those clandestine rules in the books. When you move the ball to half court, the man inbounding the ball from the side of the floor is treated like a man on the floor. He must establish a pivot foot and then cannot move. That's to keep the person from gaining an advantage of running up and down the sideline, unlike the baseline when you inbound it from an end of the floor.
And high marks for Norm Itzkus for knowing the NBA rulebook inside out, because that is an obscure rule. There's Barry Ackerley, the owner of the Seattle Supersonics, and sitting right next to him and almost out of range. In fact, he is out of range. Everybody's out of range except for the kid, was Bob Whitsitt, the general manager of the Sonics. And, boy, Barry Ackerley, he's probably a believer in prayer right now.
The Mavericks now have no timeouts left.
They do get to move the ball to midcourt, though.
Yes. But again, the travel rule applies down here for Harper, and it's going to be one shot probably to win the game, because it's almost certainly going to be from three-point range, you'd think, eh?
2 seconds to go. Harper to Davis. Oh, it was close. Off the front of the rim. And there you see it. In shocking fashion, the Seattle Supersonics have tied this series. Dale Ellis's 2 free throws with 2 seconds to go. And for a team that was blown out 48 hours ago, the Sonics come off the mat to win this one 112-110 and tie this best-of-5 series at 1 game apiece. And we'll be going to Seattle for games 3 and 4 Tuesday and Thursday night. We'll be back to wrap this one up on the Mavericks Playoff Network right after this.